Hey everyone, it's Thomas and Appleblock Studios here, and today I'm going to do a compare and contrast of Thomas and Friends: The Adventure Begins and Sofia the First: Once Upon a Princess. Okay, now I don't have the DVD of Once Upon a Princess, but I have it on iTunes, so that's why I'm doing this compare and contrast. So let's begin. Okay, I'm going to use a chart and I've written down the ratings of 7 different factors of each film. Okay, we're going to start off with the story. The Adventure Begins is an adaptation of the first 2 books of the Railway series, The Three Railway Engines and Thomas the Tank Engine. Now, I think the story is just fantastic. It is really good. I really like how Thomas went after James in effort to save him during his runaway with the trucks. And it's just an overall great adaptation, and I give the story of The Adventure Begins a 10 out of 10. Okay, with Once Upon a Princess, I think the story is great as well, because it shows how Sofia became a princess and learning the ropes to becoming a princess, and it's just fantastic as well. It's just a stellar story, and I also give the story of Once Upon a Princess, a 10 out of 10. Next up, we have voice acting. Okay, Ariel Winter voices Sofia in Once Upon a Princess. She does a fantastic job. She's one of the best voice actresses I've ever heard. And Ariel Winter, I just wanted to say, you do such a great job as Sofia, and you are irreplaceable. And I wanted to thank you for all your hard work. Now, Joseph May. I really wish Joseph May was just a guest star for The Adventure Begins, because honestly, he doesn't voice Thomas very well. He makes him sound too much like a kid. In a Sodor Island Forums interview with Martin Sherman, the old voice actor of Thomas, Sherman said that Thomas was him at the age of 15 at his most innocent. And I think that is just great, because Sherman did a really good job voicing as Thomas. I really wish he was back on the show. I'm really sad that he left. I just wish Martin Sherman would come back. And therefore, I give Once Upon a Princess voice acting rating of a 10 out of 10, and The Adventure Begins a voice acting rating of a 5 out of 10. It just wasn't very good. Next up, the animation. Okay, both movies had stellar animation. ARC had been improving since King of the Railway when they started, and since it was the first episode/movie of Sofia the First, you can consider it an episode if you want to, but it's basically a movie. So, well, it's considered an episode on iTunes, and I'll get to iTunes later. And it was just great. It was so fantastic. They did a really good job for their first try, and I give both animation ratings of 10 out of 10 for both. Next up, songs. The Adventure Begins had two great new versions of Really Useful Engine and Troublesome Trucks. I like the new Really Useful Engines version better, but I prefer the classic series version of Troublesome Trucks. I just like the verses better. I like that verse about Diesel, and I just thought that the original version of Troublesome Trucks was better. But Really Useful Engine really did better this time. I just thought it was really, really good. And in Once Upon a Princess, there were 5 songs. I'm Not Ready to Be a Princess, which is really good, which was fantastic. Royal Prep, which was fantastic as well. A Little Bit of Food, which was great. True Sisters, which is the weakest of the 5 songs, but still was great. And Rise and Shine, which is one of my favorite songs. And so, therefore, I give songs for The Adventure Begins an 8 out of 10, and Once Upon a Princess a 9 out of 10. Next up, character portrayal. In The Adventure Begins, Gordon and James are a bit too rude to Thomas considering he was the new guy, but they still remained relative to their classic series personalities, and I think everyone did a pretty good job of maintaining their classic personalities. Thomas, Edward, Henry, Gordon, James, and Sir Topham Hatt, and I just thought the characters were really good. But when it comes to the characters of Sofia the First, Once Upon a Princess, they're even better. Everyone is great. Even Amber, who's the main antagonist, and Cedric, who's the other antagonist. I think they're both great characters, both great antagonists, and all the protagonists are great. But my favorite character of all is Sofia. She's so adorable, so charming. I love Sofia as a character. And I give character portrayal of The Adventure Begins an 8, and Once Upon a Princess a 10. Okay, next is iTunes price. That's a bit weird for me to talk about this, but since I bought Once Upon a Princess off iTunes, I might as well talk about it. Okay, HD version is $5.99 or $6, and SD version is $3.99 or $4. Still really good for a 45-minute film. Both of these are about 45 minutes long, and I think that either one is really good. I can't remember which one I have, the SD or the HD version, but either one is fantastic, and I give the price a 10 out of 10 for Once Upon a Princess. Now for The Adventure Begins, it's $10 for a 45-minute film. That's just ridiculous. I know it's considered a movie, but it should just be like $5 or something. This is ridiculous how expensive it is. And so I think it's so ridiculous that I'm giving iTunes price for The Adventure Begins a 2 out of 10. Finally, the end credit sequence. The end credit sequence for The Adventure Begins was fantastic. I love seeing the pictures from the Railway series and hearing the choir sing Really Useful Engine. I just thought it was fantastic. And Sofia sang Rise and Shine during the end credits, and I thought that was just fantastic as well. And so I give both of the end credit sequences 10s out of 10. And the total score for The Adventure Begins is 7.5 out of 10, and Once Upon a Princess is 10 out of 10. So I like Sofia the First, Once Upon a Princess way better, but The Adventure Begins is still good just the same. But Once Upon a Princess puts The Adventure Begins to shame. I mean, it is so much better. I want to say bravo to Ariel Winter, Craig Gerber, who wrote Once Upon a Princess. Bravo, and major kudos to them because they did such a great job. So overall, I like Once Upon a Princess better, and it's better than The Adventure Begins. And so guys, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my video, and thank you for joining me through this, even though it was kind of long. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later, and have a great weekend.